tribute to Bharat Ratna Visvesvaraya, who was regarded as the father of modern Mysore. And today, Chandigarh University is celebrating this special day on the theme Engineers for Skill Development and Employment in Combating COVID. And for this auspicious day, we have been joined by Chief Guest of the Day, Mr. Harish Mehta, CEO, Reliance VP Mobility Limited. We also have with us keynote speaker Mr. Bharat S. Patel, Council Member IEI. We also have Professor Dr. R.S. Baba, Honorable Pro-Chancellor, Chandigarh University. And we also have with us Professor Dr. Prakash S. Mack, Executive Director, UIE, and Professor Dr. Harjot Gill, Associate Director, UIE. And I also extend a very warm welcome to all the executive directors, HODs, principals, faculty members, and students who have joined us virtually. So to start this program, I would like to request the technical team to play the Saraswati Vandana, because every event starts with the blessings of Goddess Saraswati, who is a symbol of knowledge, music, art, wisdom, and nature. So I request the technical team to kindly please play the video. So, ladies and gentlemen, after seeking the blessings of Ma Saraswati, even though it is virtually, we hope so in the coming future will have all these honorable dignitaries in the campus of Chandigarh University, and we will celebrate Engineers Day. Now is the time to invite the dynamic personality, the one who has been a huge inspiration to every student and faculty member. So I request Professor Dr. Prakash S. Met, Executive Director, UIE, Chandigarh University, to introduce the theme of today's program and also pay floral tribute to Sir Visvesvaraya Mokshikunda. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mandip Kaur. Respected Chancellor, Chandigarh University, respected Bhava Sir, Pro-Chancellor, today's Chief Guest, Harish Mehta Ji, Bharat C. Patil Sir. In fact, I'm taking the role of Vice Chancellor here. Vice Chancellor was supposed to be for this function. Immediately, the organizers told me to speak about Sir M. Visvesvaraya and welcome the Chief Guest. I thank all the team members for organizing this event here. I'm very small man to speak about Sir M. Visvesvaraya, but what I've been know about Sir M. Visvesvaraya, great engineer, is not just a great engineer. Is an efficient administrator, an eminent statesman, educationist, economist. He was a social worker and above all, a patriot of the highest order. That is none other than Sir M. Visvesvaraya. He is a multifaceted personality. He was not just an eminent engineer, he was an eminent statesman. His distinguished career started somewhere in 1884 to 1999 as an engineer. From 1912 to 1960, he also took the role of distinguished statesman and economist. If I want to tell him, his career path is something very long. He created a lot of milestones in his career. I still remember one story where there is a Krishna Jalpath in Shumaga. the water is falling from such a great heights, we as a common man, we go and take the pictures over there and we enjoy the complete scenery of that complete place. But at that moment, he wrote one statement in a visitor's book. He wrote the statement called as "What a waste." He didn't write anything. What a waste. The water is falling from such a big height, and we were not able to convert this into the solar energy or electrical energy. So this is something, the perception of an engineer had really made a big difference. So there is a lot of achievements which has come out from this one. He was a Diwan of Mysore. He was a person who started State Bank of India. He started iron and ore and Bhadravati in Karnataka. He has contributed a lot of things in building certain Dakeras Dam, Brindavana Dam. He was there. He also reformed a lot of villages brought under the irrigation projects. A lot of positions he held. He was not only with Public Works Department at Mumbai in British government. He was also appointed as the executive engineer for irrigation department in Pune. He was also a special engineer for Hyderabad state. He was appointed as a Diwanship for Mysore, which with little reluctance he took from the Mysore. He was Mysore Raja insisted him to take this position. And I want to tell you a some story when Vishveshwaraya thought that, and he told about this concept of building a dam for KRS Dam. When Raja didn't had money to invest, Raja had this desire that he wanted to make this so much of land irrigated. At that moment, the complete gold was kept as a loan and this dam was built. So I was just taking over Vice Chancellor. Sir has come now. Sir, since you were a little late, I took over, sir. I was just speaking about Vice Chancellor. I think you are the right person. You come from a civil background and you are the right person to take over, sir. Please, sir, over to you, sir. Over to Vice Chancellor here. Thank you, sir. Sir, you are on mute, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Prakash. And of course, I have a privilege that you have come from the same state of Karnataka, from where the Vishveshwaraya hails from.
Thank you, sir.
This is the day that we are celebrating as Engineers Day. And this is a tribute to the Sir MV. I believe that Prakash has shared some bits from the life of Sir MV. See, he is such an engineer, finest engineer India ever produced. That is how the Engineers Day is being celebrated in his name. That is number one. Number two is, there are several incidents where he has shown that he is not only the finest engineer, but also a statesman. And whenever it comes to the country, he never sacrificed the interest of the country. Even, of course, most of his projects were implemented in the British rule, but yet, whenever it is the interest of the country, he has made it a point that he never go against the interest of the country, even the authorities of the state or the presidency at that time trying to get from him. He's an acknowledged engineer. And I think one more incident, I don't know whether Prakash has narrated already or not, because I came late due to another program. So he was actually given a privilege for visiting a resort type of thing near the Bombay Presidency. At that time, they showed him a Joke Falls. Now it is called as Joke Falls. So the beauty of the water flowing around 973 feet. It is falling from 973 feet. Instead of enjoying the beauty, he exclaimed that it is a waste of energy. And that is how that Mahatma Gandhi Reservoir Station has come up, MRS has come up in that place. So wherever he goes, wherever he sees the opportunity for growth, and he has done it, and that is how the India has grown. He has not only served in the Madras presidency, at that time Madras presidency and Mysore state, but also Bombay, and he has even contributed to several other provincial government as being the engineer and the irrigational expert. He has contributed as an engineer and educational expert. It is this day that we are all celebrating as Engineers Day. Let me get back to the significance of the Engineers Day as on today. To commemorate the memory of Vishwesvaraya, we are celebrating Engineers Day. And the theme is to have a skill set for employment and also to combat COVID-19. We have a specialist speaker, Mr. Bharat Patel, who is one of my friend, and we used to get in touch with quite often for various occasions. And also, I, as a Vice Chancellor of this university, I have a privilege in inviting all the delegates and especially the chief guest Harish Mehta, who has kindly consented to be the chief guest on this day. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, madam. I think now we are getting late and you can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So with this, I also would like to request the technical team to pay the floral tribute, as we are also celebrating the birth anniversary of Sir Vishwesvaraya Mukshakundam. So I request the technical team to kindly play the video, please. So after this floral tribute, now I would like to invite the man who is not only the source of huge inspiration and encouragement, but also one of the most important pillars of Chandigarh University. So please welcome Professor Dr. R.S. Baba, Honorable Pro-Chancellor, Chandigarh University. And I also request sir to kindly present the welcome address.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mandeep. I take it as a great privilege and
Baba, Honorable
an opportunity to extend a very
and
warm
I also
welcome to the
request sir
chief
to
guest
kindly present the
and
welcome
recipient of the
Thank you so much.
Lifetime
Thank you,
Achievement Award on this great day.
I take it as a
we call
great
Engineers Day,
privilege.
and
Baba,
I
Honorable
extend a very
Pro-Chancellor,
warm opportunity
Chandigarh
to
University.
extend a
And
very
I
warm
also
welcome to
request
the
sir
chief
to
guest
kindly present the welcome
and
address.
receive this award from Chandigarh University.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Award on this.
I will
I
also
take it as an opportunity to extend a very warm welcome to all the
Baba,
delegates and
Pro-Chancellor,
opportunity to
speakers
extend
and
a very
and
warm
I also
welcome
request
to
sir
our
to
guests
kindly
in
present
subsequent
the
sessions.
welcome
Receive
address.
this award and Chandigarh University.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I also
very
take
much.
this opportunity to
I will
read
also
out
take it as an
the
opportunity to extend a very warm
citation that
all
we have
the
prepared
Baba,
I
for
extend a very warm
all the
opportunity
chief
to
guests
and
and
I also
speak
request sir to
Mr.
kindly
Harish
present the
Mehta
welcome
and
address.
receive this award and
Chandigarh University. Thank you so much.
I also
very
take
much.
this he's committed to
I
read
will
out
also take
best
it as an
class
opportunity to
of
extend a very warm
citation that we have prepared
Baba,
for CEO of Reliance Eco Mobility
and I also
speak
request sir to
Mr.
kindly
Harish
present the
Mehta
welcome
and
address.
receive this award and Mehta has a deep understanding of he's committed to read out best of class next generation citation that we have prepared for CEO of Reliance Eco Mobility almost 25 years of experience. Mr. Mehta has that Mr. Mehta has a deep understanding of he's committed to read out best of class advertised and premium fuels, convenience offer for food on the go, multi-partner coalition loyalty program, and industry-leading brand Castrol lubricants. He joined RIL as the president of refining and marketing at Reliance Industries. overseeing the domestic petroleum marketing business, and later took over the role of CEO for RBML. He has led the largest expansion of the on-demand fueling network through mobile dispensers and pilfer-proof fuel containers. Also, prior to joining RIL, Mr. Mehta had a rich 3-decade tenure with Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. At HPCL, he held the positions of Executive Director, Director Sales, and Executive Director Operations and Distributions, handling marketing, sales, operations, and distribution functions. Mr. Mehta holds an electrical engineering degree from Thapar Engineering College, Patiala. He is a regular invitee at international oil and gas forums. He has also served on multiple committees for safety, security, pricing, and development of national standards pertaining to oil and gas. Sir, we are delighted. In fact, we seek great pleasure in conferring the Lifetime Achievement Award to such a dynamic and versatile personality, was an unparalleled genius in the marketing world. And we wish that you keep on serving this great country with the kind of vision and versatility that you got for a very, very long time. Once again, a very, very hearty welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And now I would like to invite one of the greatest personality who is a perfect example of success, who has worked in numerous capacities and has given new direction to the budding professionals. Please welcome Mr. Harish Mehta, CEO of Reliance BP Mobility Limited for the address.
Thank you very much. A very good morning to you all. And first and foremost, trust all of you and your family members are doing well and have accustomed to this new normal in these extraordinary times. While I am based out of Mumbai, but my native place, I hail from Patiala, a town in Punjab. As a child, during adolescent age, I have fond memories of visiting Chandigarh, be it visiting the rock garden with my parents, which was a big, novel and unique destination in those days created by famous Nek Chand, or to appear in the competitive exams later, as Patiala won't host any such exams. While my siblings chose to follow my father into the banking sector, I pursued electrical engineering from Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology and today's Thapar University. While growing up, there were two options, for electrical engineers in Punjab, either joining the Punjab State Electricity Board or maybe one of the PSUs. Since I didn't relate to the bureaucratic culture in the state government institutions, so I chose the latter. Joining as a construction engineer at a project site in Kashmir, I grew up to hold prestigious, positions of executive director in my 3 decades long career in Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. Had many achievements at HPCL, I think, but what has stayed with me is how part of that, how did I reach that? And I'll come to that maybe a little later. Moving on from a relatively comfortable and stable position in a public sector, that is HPCL, I moved on to an entirely new way of working in a private sector and the giant Reliance Industries. As President, Refining and Marketing, I was almost overnight required to oversee 10 diverse businesses from a single product line in HPCL. For 5 consecutive years, my RIL team clocked, record bottom line numbers in spite of very challenging environment. We trebled or made the 3 times the EBITDA in that 5-year period. Once again, just as we were getting comfortable in our success here, I was interested with taking the BP discussion, the BP of UK, for formation of a joint venture with Reliance to a closer. Given the nature of this transaction involving REL's countrywide network, dealing with the complex regulatory and administrative maze in this country, and the sheer expanse of work streams, I expected the transaction to be tough. But with the pandemic, adding its own complexity, the transaction certainly was a lifetime experience for me and my team. Since July 2020, after JV formation, that is Reliance BP Mobility Limited, we are redefining the mobility solutions in India. Manifestation of our efforts will be shortly, in maybe few months, getting launched in the public domain and will be there for all of you to see. Corporate success, I would say, or for that matter of fact, in any other sphere of activity in life, is nothing but an outcome of judicious utilization of these three external elements, I would say: the time, the person, and the place. Irrespective of the career you choose, I am addressing the students of the Chandigarh University. Putting your best efforts to make the most of this hollow trinity at any point of time should be your motto. While you might be able to relive one or two of these at multiple points in your life, the mix of all three that you are experiencing today will never return again. So let me start with the most important facet, time. And time, I would say, that has further two facets: professional and personal. Through our careers, through our career, we tend to focus a lot more on the former, that is on the professional part. But how far you reach in life is decided by the quality time balance of that, which we are able to strike in these two things. My mantra for each of them, would be as under to the timelines. On the personal front, again, I would split it in two parts: physical and mental. Talking about physical, in my college days, I used to play hockey as a center forward. But growing up, I have maintained some form of exercise, be it yoga or brisk walking or running or maybe playing a badminton game. That has kept always, that has always been a part of my daily routine. Irrespective of my personal achievement, a day spent without physical activity is a day wasted in my diary. On the mental side, I would credit my longevity to the quality time spent with the family. Unless my times, the entire maze of social media around ensures that all of us need to look inward for maintaining some sort of sanity in us. And what a better way of time with your life. I have 2 fixed slots every day, that energize my rest of day, in my lifestyle. Early day in the morning, every day when I have a cup of tea with my wife, we talk to our 2 children who are in US. My elder son is an internal medicine specialist, a doctor at Cleveland Clinic in Ohio in US. And the younger one is has done masters in ITM, Information Technology Management, from University of Dallas, and working for Intuit, a fintech giant in US. And in the late night, my work schedule is almost 10 to 11 hours a day. The meetings keep on going on till late in the evening, especially the pandemic has made it worse. Work from home is, the timelines are totally blurred in official and family life. So while I have a dinner, maybe a little bit of light entertainment program or news is what, I keep maybe hour and a half in the evening before I go to bed. So in summary, what I want to say is that I urge each one of you to, believe in this Mark Twain's quote. 30 years from now, you are all youngsters now passing out of the university. But 30 years from now, you will be more disappointed about things you didn't do rather than those you did. So as time is limited, use it well and ensure that you make every second count. The second part I want to talk is about the person. The learnings come from the people. All through my life, we come across, all through our lives, I would say that we come across people and experiences. So it is essential to churn the best learning out of both. As you progress through your career, you will have your own learnings. But let me share some of my learnings which you can reflect over in your life. Once again, This is split into two parts. On the people front, I draw my inspiration from two key individuals. Between them, they have given me life lessons, which are simply invaluable. First is from Shri Mukesh Ambani, our chairman and owner of the Reliance Industries. I mean, his mantra is that pursue excellence, best, the very best in the world. Nothing less than best should be acceptable. Dream big. Being able to think clearly on a 20 years horizon across sectors is something, which I have learned from him. Self-belief. He could have been content with the energy sector. We have the biggest and the best refinery at Jamnagar, and it was a big roaring business for Reliance Industries. But he has not taken rest with that and chose to create two new growth engines in telecom and retail. And now all of you would have heard that, another vertical on new energy, on the renewables and the battery technology and the solarization is going to be created as a part of Reliance. And it's going to be, I think, one of the biggest venture in this space in the times to come. The second set of learnings I have taken from my own son. Probably in my days, I was not that good at multitasking, but I have learned from my children that how good they are at multitasking, the ability to pay equal attention to personal, professional, and family goals. The second is risk-taking. He could have had a very comfortable life here in India, but he chose to go in a very uncertain and difficult territory. He has made a space for himself. And third, of course, building presence. We are all always very constrained in time, but I have seen him, in spite of the tool, as a practitioner. He closely networks with his friends, both in his in personal circle as well as in the office. The experience is, as a business leader, I live by the following mantra, basis on my on-the-job learning. One should be committed to excellence. Eye for detail without losing the sight of big pictures is something I think each one of us has to master. Clarity of thought. If you are a leader, you have to have that so that you can ensure quick and rational decision making. Caring for the, your own employees, your own family, and the society at large. And in case of your organizations, I'm sure that all of you who are passing out from the university are going to hold multiple very senior leadership positions in the corporate sector. So while you care for your employees, also hold them to account and challenge them to outperform others. So in summary, I would say that always look out for learnings from your family, peers, leaders, or the industry. As per industry research, over 80% of practical learnings come from informal zones rather than on-the-job experience or formal education. And once you have learned, don't shy away from adopting them in practice. Most of you stand today, this is something that you will relate to and experience in the near future, as you move towards taking your place is rooted on the ground action. So I would say that 4 things should be, kept in mind. Discipline is one, from stapling in a right way to follow, the SOPs, because I work in a hydrocarbon sector where the safety and other issues are very important. So you have to the dot, follow the standard operating practices. Empowerment. You can't do it alone. No one individual in the corporate sector can succeed. Empowerment will make success for the team. Trust. I think you have to trust your peers, your colleagues, your seniors, and outcome of that trust will bring tremendous energy in the teamwork. And of course, risk taking. In a corporate world, nothing is certain. It's a VUCA word. I would say that very volatile, things change overnight. So the risk taking ability is something which will keep you in good stead if you want to be successful in your life career. So I urge, you to proactively seek empowerment, continue taking risk, and thereby earn trust amongst the company peers and the industry. So to end, in the technology-driven era, corporate world was already evolving rapidly. With the onset of this once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, this pace of change has further hastened up. The pace of change has, I would say, that further quickened up. While what you have learned at college will give you a good foundation, your pace of adaptation to the new normal, combined with your ability to unlearn and relearn these skill sets, will determine your career growth and success in life. So I thank the Vice Chancellor, Mr. Raghavendran, and the administration of the Chandigarh University for having invited me and bestowing on me the honor of Lifetime Achievement Award on this very coveted Engineers Day. Thank you very much, and all the very best to all of you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing all these important lessons of life and of being a true leader with the experience of your life. And we are so honored to have such a great personality with us on this special day of Engineers Day. And now is the time to felicitate our honorable guest with the Lifetime Achievement Award to recognize his extraordinary contribution. And for that, I would like to request Professor Dr. R.S. Bawa, Honorable Pro-Chancellor, Chandigarh University, to present the award as well as kindly present the address of felicitation. Please, sir.
What do we go about?
I request the technical team to kindly display the citation as well of Lifetime Achievement Award, please. So on the behalf of Chandigarh University, we would like to felicitate our Honorable Chief Guest of the Day with the Lifetime Achievement Award. And thank you so much, sir, for such being a great inspiration to all the youngsters and for your contribution throughout your life. Thank you so much, sir.
We are delighted actually on behalf of the Honorable Chancellor, Das Ram Singh Sandhuji, and the entire Chandigarh University family. We deem it as a great privilege and a matter of honor to present this award. In fact, we are honoring ourselves by presenting this Lifetime Achievement Award to this great stalwart and son of India, Mr. Harish Mehta ji. Proud of you, sir, and our best wishes and felicitations on not only for receiving this award, but also for all the achievements and the lessons of life that you have given to the students, but I'm sure they are relevant to all of us. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience of listening to you and also knowing about your life and your times and your achievements. Our best wishes, and we wish that there are many, many more peaks to be surmounted by your good self.
Thank you very much. I'm really for the honor you and the and is I Punjab, so Chandigarh always is very close to my heart. So make sure that probably Chandigarh University as part of our venture, and I'm sure that a lot of our offerings will be visible in the ground maybe another 3 to 6 months down the line, and it will be a good opportunity for us to source talent from Chandigarh University. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mehtaji, and we look forward to welcoming you, hosting sometime, and physically. From our students, we can assure you that whatever will be required, we'll give it to the students so that you find them suitable for yourself and your company. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to have 2 words. Sir,
Please,
I think the source
of
marketing, you should come and address our student very frequently. Maybe virtual or even physical, we don't mind, but we have a lot of good marketing team as a faculty, and also we have a large number of students. I think we need your blessings, and you should grace our management school quite often so that they can also perform like you. This is my request, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Definitely, we'll definitely make sure that maybe if time permits, I'll come and come and address the people, or some of my senior colleagues at RBML. Also, I would encourage them to visit the university and see that they can share some of their experiences in life with the youngsters in the university.
Thank you, sir. Very kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, and congratulations, sir. And now I would like to invite Professor Dr. Harjot Gill, Associate Director, UIE, to kindly welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Bharat S. Patel, Council Member, IEI. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mandeep. Thank you for this opportunity to introduce such a great personality. Mr. Bharat Patel ji is one of the shining star in world of engineering. So sir has done his engineering from electronics and communication from Gujarat University, then pursued research at Baba Atomic Research Center, Trombay, ORG, and Space Application Center, including ISRO for designing of microcomputers and integrated circuit-based designs. Sir is very passionate about technology and has more than 3 decades of ambitious, goal-oriented, energetic, and highly skilled information technology leadership experience, along with being an effective presenter and great interpersonal skills at a stout combination of both technological and business savior. Sir is experienced in collaborating with various parts of international business and as an ambassador of change, a keen strategist and expertise in providing effective business solutions. He has a strong connect and involvement in trade associations, consulting organizations, and academic institutions, with a clear motive of bridging and connecting all stakeholders in technology through research, innovation, incubation, and fostering the startups. Sir is now a fellow of IEI, IETE, and member of CSI, International Red Cross Association, British Business Group, founder member with Gujarat Innovation Society, and ASCOM, and many more. He was a past chairman of CSI Ahmedabad and a past chairman of Gujarat State Center of IEI. Currently, sir is president with ABS Division of British Council, Chairman Startups Mission, and Chairman Startup Innovation for Western Council, Academic Research and Publication Committee. Along with this, sir has many more awards and recognitions to his name. We are very honored to you, sir, to have you on this auspicious day, and request to you please deliver a keynote address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a wonderful morning that we are all gathered here on this Engineers Day, and there is less that I have to speak after Harishji has mentioned all about how and what one should do to be successful in life, because I think Harishji has really moved the entire the gamut of showing how the time, people, and space and the place that you can actually put together. And that is what I think the current 1600 students which are actually looking into will really understand how this is important in life to be successful. Harish Bhai, thank you so much for giving that insight, which is, as I think Babaji rightly said, that it's not only for the students, but it's also for us as well. So it's very, very interesting that you mentioned about the journey. I am extremely thankful, Raghavendraji, to invite me here today amongst all of you. I've known him for quite a long time, and it's a pleasure to be amongst all of you today. This Engineers Day, I think it was long back, when, I'll talk to you about the Institution of Engineers as well. That it was the first body, in 1920 when it was made, well before the independence of the country, that the organization was framed primarily with an intention that engineering is going to be one of the most important areas for the development of the country. And thereafter, in 1935, it got the Royal Charter from the Majestic, from the United Kingdom, and that's how this particular organization has got 15 different disciplines within the organization, which is looking after either in terms of education or skill development, or even an advice to the government as to what should be done for the infrastructural development. 15th of September, as we all know, that being the Engineers Day, and it was when started that the theme this time we have, is so very relevant that Engineers Day normally is being celebrated with various things being, set across by, the Institution of Engineers as well, that what should be relevant for the current scenarios. So when we chosen this particular theme, this time, which is basically the skill development, employment, skill development, which will bring the employment in combating the crisis. Now, when I say crisis, it could not be limited just to COVID, but it could be any related crisis. So sometimes, it becomes very, very imperative that what kind of skills that we really need to empower, the students. Now, as we were discussing that, there has been employability, which is a primarily an important factor for any university. I do understand Board of Council for the development of the curriculum and the requirement at the industry level. There's always a fight between the two, because there's always a gap, which is being evidently seen, that the requirement in the industry and the teachings which is happening in the universities, there's a gap. So how do we bridge this? And I believe the concept of finishing school is primarily what is very, very important. And that's where the skill development really comes up. That skills should be parted based on the requirement of the industry. Now, could be that, I would have done my electronics and communication in those days. At that time, perhaps there was no computer as a field of choice, and in those days, I was amongst the first batch of 10+2, which was introduced in Gujarat in those days. Despite me getting into, engineering of different discipline, I did not want to go, and I chose only electronics and communication. Now, this is just because primarily I was driven by the interest that I had myself, and I was not getting influenced by the external factors, be it parents or be it somebody else. Now, this is something which is very, very important, that if you have a passion of doing a pace, and time is something which is very, very important. And as Harishji rightly mentioned, the balance between the professional and the personal time frame that you need to have, that you really need to look across as how your passion is being driven through either your family members or your friends, and also professionally. So that balance has to be rightly and critically handled. So I think with this kind of basic, setting this stone, how this skill is something which is very, very important, either on your personal level or even professional era of mobility. I would say that opportunities get created. So crisis should not be taken as a bad part of our lives, but we should be considering that that's an event or an opportunity where we can create a lot of avenues of business or even learnings, which is going to happen. So when we say these learnings, which is going to drive us, that generates a kind of an area where the skills are to be deployed. So skills, when we look into this area, will be quite varying based on whether one can really bring the skills to that level which is required by the industry, or even which is required at various other places within your organization as well. There are areas where the skill developments need to be changed from from what you would have learned in past. So Harishji mentioned about unlearning what you would have learned in the past. So sometimes things does not necessarily mean that whatever practices have been happening so far needs to be followed and done in the same particular way. You might need to unlearn them and then deploy new skills. So skill development within yourself is based on time as well. What is that time? And that's how you should really change. So this crisis of COVID has really brought in a lot of changes. Perhaps, a few years back, we would not have had such kind of, conferences or seminars, which are so virtual. Today, we have a mix of virtual as well as a physical mode simultaneously happening just because of this crisis which has come. And I believe that skill development requirement, based on that is there and the situation which has come across the world. So I'll just cite you a few of these examples, where engineering or even otherwise. Let's take a case of COVID, and we towards that. Doctors could not visit the patient because this COVID situation was so bad. So, despite the whole world was struggling on the telemedicines, for ages, rapidly grew very fast because that skill development happened within the app development of the mobile apps or the computers. The patients and the doctors had newer skills. How do I judge a patient and what to prescribe to him? So this telemedical concept, which has been struggling, really came up to the right level, and the skills, because the skills were imparted, it rightly came through and it went through, and it has successfully seen that it has been deployed and it has been very wonderfully accepted. I'll also cite you about one of these work which my own company we had done for the government of Gujarat, and which successfully worked so well that the X-rays which are being taken for the patients. Now, when these chest X-rays are taken, it is very difficult to distinguish between a COVID patient and a non-COVID patient. Which would have got, suppose, chest congestion, and those which have got a COVID. How do we really find this difference? So the radiologist perhaps would have difficulty in understanding this kind of things. So what we did is we made an artificial intelligence-based understanding of the X-rays and compare it with the COVID and the non-COVID, and give them a kind of a insight that these are perhaps the X-rays which have got COVID and these are those which do not have it. So it makes it very easy for the doctors to understand that yes, this particular engine, which is a machine learning as well, artificial intelligence and along with machine learning. So the model will get trained by itself to understand this image when it is processed, whether this is a COVID patient or a non-COVID patient. So such kind of newer skills which are being deployed for various areas can really bring a lot of change into the market. And as I said, it's just not limited to COVID as a crisis, but any other crisis. I'll give you an example of pharma across to meet the doctors and explain them. Now, during such kind of COVID situation, perhaps none of these people would be actually going there. But how do they explain this? The new drugs, new philosophy will be deployed to patients. Now, this is all done online. So this particular skill has to be imparted and trained these people that you have to, instead of going physical, you have to do it digitally. So these representatives which are of these companies started working in that form. And this is what is needed based on this particular time. So as professional engineers, we need to think of this technical interventions to designs and implementation, how we can really work across. I'll tell you, at one point of time, I'm sure all of you must be using LinkedIn as one of the professional ways of getting connected to people. And as Arishi rightly mentioned, that people connectivity is extremely important. So similarly, when we have these skill sets, I remember about talking to one of the construction companies here in Ahmedabad. They had certain requirements of a specialized manpower. Now, those specialized manpowers were coming all the way from Odisha. Now, during this COVID time, they were unable to come here. So what do we do? So either there are two choices to that. One, that the local which is here, they need to be skilled or they need to be reskilled based on the requirement which is locally available. Or there could be a kind of a network, just like LinkedIn, a kind of a network, ability of people at one end as to what skills they have and the requirement at the other end, and there is a platform which can really take it. Now, these kind of will now start coming in, and I believe this is based on every particular skill. We will have to have these things coming up so that there's be ease of people. They need not physically travel all the way from one end to the other, and there'll be local skills available at each end. And I'll tell you that we in India still do not have the skill-based licensing of every particular areas. For example, let's say in the case of civil engineering, now a simple thing like brick laying. Now, whether the brick has to be laid horizontally or it has to be put vertically. Now, as an electronics engineer or a computer engineer, I would not know about it. But suppose if I want to learn that skill, I have to be certified, trained, and then certified with a license. And only after that, I should be able to do a bricklaying work. Similarly, let's say plumbing. You have an issue, let's say in your home, and you call a plumber. Perhaps he's going to mess around most of the time because the pipes are concealed within the walls, and he'll be unable to find where the leakage is. Now, because he doesn't have the right tools and technology, he doesn't have a thermal scanner where he's going to actually scan whether the temperature of that pipe, which is just behind that place, is evidently known to him. So he perhaps might not be able to find it. So I think, these tools and technologies are required, and as a part of the skill development, and a certification is also one day going to come. Like in the US, for example, if you're not qualified, certified for a plumbing, you cannot do the plumbing job. So once this kind of certifications also happen as a part of the skill development, maybe the National Skill Development Forum is also thinking on these lines. That's where, this particular kind of digital platform will allow people to be available based on the skill sets who are certified, and also the requirements at the other end. So I think this kind of marketplace will open up for these skill-based people across. So I think this pandemic has really taught us a lot of things, and this skill recognition process really developed, especially on the low and medium skill migrant workers as well, where this crucial time has come where the formulating of the policies will also come in. So I will happen work from home or work from anywhere in Madhya Pradesh. So all these teams have actually gone for leisure and they still work from there. So it's work from anywhere kind of concept, but that's working fine as far as IT is concerned. Perhaps not be true for another kind of industry, let's say a mechanical industry where the physical manpower is needed, or a construction industry where physical manpower is needed. And for a country like India, it perhaps going from industry 3.0 to 4.0 to 5.0 and deploying robots and artificial intelligence is a little far away. The reason behind that is not every market is in a position to do it. Because deploying robots, I know that, with such a large amount of people that we have, the employability will become little constrainable. So, utilizing the skills as a part of the development within the locally available manpower will be the only choice. So I think for the next generation businesses and any companies across the globe, learning will become one of the biggest things, and they'll have to put a separate budget to it, that how, these learning budgets are being protected for their employees and also the new employees. So I think this is going to be very, very important, how these tailored learning processes are to be deployed and made mandatory, be it in a small company or a large company as well. So as I said, that digital talent marketplace is going to be something which is going to be helpful for all of us. And this is what, in short, I would like to tell about, that skill development is the way forward for any of these areas, be it health, be it, pharma, be it, anything like any of these particular areas. We need to worry about how the skills are actually deployed and how the gap is being bridged. And talk about even the financial sector. Sorry, the financial sector has really changed the way it was working, because the skills have been changed, the skills have been deployed in such a way that all of us, we are using the financial and banking services to entire digital services. Now, I don't even remember of visiting a branch of a bank maybe in the last 15 years, perhaps. It has never been a requirement, because everything can happen digitally. And if things can happen digitally, perhaps, that's a skill which one has to learn and deploy. So I think all these kind of skill development would be a choice, or perhaps a need, which is going to be without any question, that everyone will have to get on that. So I urge each of your students as well, community, that you should be, connected in terms of people connectivity and also organizational connectivity. because when they were just reading my biodata, I was happy, and also just wanting that people should learn that, more the associations that you connect to, lot of people that you will connect, because today there is no more a niche that is going to happen, that you are an electronics engineer, just have be focused only on electronics. It's going to be interdisciplinary, because none of these skills are actually going to be deployed within their own discipline. It's going to be interdisciplinary. So you got to keep your eyes and nose and ears very much open to understand how the whole technology is going to take forward. And that is where I think I also take care of the startups community, that when the startup is looking into the opportunity, they should look into the whole gamut. And finally, the most important thing, as Harish Bhai is a champion into that, is the marketing of the whole thing. If your product is good and it is not well marketed, the whole thing goes for a toss. So with this, I would just end my little thoughts that I had. And thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much for enlightening the audience on this wonderful topic, sir, and for your enriching words. So now for the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Prakash S. Mutt, Executive Director